Graham Fry. I'm running for the Republican presidential candidate.
I am Eric Van Dale, and I'm running for president as a Democrat.
Okay. Your first question. How do you feel about the separation in our society between the salt and peppers?
I believe that if which one's the minority?
I think the salt or I can't remember.
I think salt is rich.
Like salt is rich. Okay.
Pepper's poor.
I think that we should create more programs to get the pepper into better jobs and to help them get up there with the salt. So that way our country is no longer divided.
I think we should kind of do what Graham said to try to like make the gap between the rich and the poor like smaller, so everyone has about an equal amount.
Okay. Your second question is, what are you going to do as president to help this country? I think they're looking for maybe objectives of your presidency, things you would like to accomplish.
Something that I would like to accomplish while I was in office is that I would like to take the judicial system and change it so that the government has more control over it and it's run by fewer people, so that way it takes longer for things like trials and stuff to happen, or it takes less time for them to happen.
I am trying to make it like, because I feel if I'm trying to make it so the government like has the kind of the major properties, because if one person like say they own the energy place, one person like if they're rich they could buy like half the energy, and then a lot of people won't have energy. So I would like the government to have like the food and the energy so that they can like evenly distribute it throughout.
Okay. Why of all the people in your political party do you feel you're most strongly the candidate the public should vote for?
Because I'm not afraid to go and say what I think would be right for this country, and I'm willing to accept people's ideas and look at them from multiple perspectives, so that way I can make sure that if the idea is worth investing in, that we can possibly move towards that in the future.
I feel like I am fit for this because I can hear out the people and go for their ideas and listen to like the Senate and what they have to say from the people. And I could, if there is an idea, because I have ideas myself too, I could do that, but I would like ask the people if they would want it before I make a decision.
Okay. How are you going to do your best to make everyone happy? So those who maybe aren't in your political party and those who are.
I think that even if you aren't a Republican, that I want to make sure that your ideas are still heard, and that even if they end up not happening, that we can still go back to them in the future and possibly make changes.
I would probably what was the question?
The question is, how are you going to make everyone happy, even those who maybe aren't in your political party or don't believe the same things as you?
I could kind of not lean mostly towards one side. I could still do some stuff kind of like taxes.
So you're saying maybe be more of a moderate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your next question is, how do you plan to spend the government's budget? Now remember, whoever becomes president gets a separate login to the Civic Mirror and a certain amount of money that they are welcome to spend, whether that's purchasing hexes or other ways. And so I believe this question is looking for, how are you going to spend that money? What choices are you going to make with that money? And this will be our last question for the day.
With the government's money, I would like to save some for emergencies and create several different funds, so that way it's not all tied in one major spot and it gets spent all in one project. And I'm going to make sure that there are individual budgets for each project and thing that we do as changes. And I also want to make sure that the government doesn't buy any of the river wilderness hexes, because I feel that if these get bought, then we could be in danger of running out of fresh water.
So you want the government to own those so people can't develop them?
Yes.
Okay. Eric, we will get your.
I will use it. I'll probably spend not most of it, but like I'd save half for, like you said, like emergencies, and the others I would use for ideas that you guys would give me, and like important things, like if some people couldn't afford health care or food or essentials, we could give that to them.
Okay, your next question is, how are you going to make sure that everyone in the country has enough money to purchase what they need? Tricky.
I'm going to make sure that everybody has enough money to purchase what they need by setting price limits on things like energy and food, and I'm going to make sure that housing stays affordable and that nobody creates a monopoly over anything, and if they do, they will be tried in court.
I'll make sure, kind of like what I said before, trying to make the gap between the poor and the rich as small as possible. Trying to make the stuff not too cheap because someone could hoard all of it, but not too expensive, kind of in the middle.
Okay, your next question. Do you think taxes as a whole, so this isn't asking you about raising or lowering, it's just asking about taxes. Do you think they're an important part of government?
I think they are definitely an important part of government, because without those taxes, we wouldn't be able to do things like public projects, and we wouldn't be able to preserve our wildlife or create new programs or basically do anything.
That's about what I was thinking.
Do you need to repeat the question? Okay. Do you have an answer?
I was just gonna say that.
Okay. Did we do should the government own everything yesterday? I think we did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And
Didn't
your
you do that for
answer.
Senate, though?
Okay, so as presidents, do you think the government should own everything? And I think by they're saying everything, they're talking like the business hexes.
I don't think the government should own everything. There should be a good amount of personally owned businesses, although the government will want to own things like river hexes to avoid running out of fresh water, and we have to make sure that we preserve our wildlife.
I think they should own them because some people, I've kind of said this before, but some people could buy a lot of them, and if the government owned them, we could make sure that everyone gets a fair amount of things, and it's whatever to low on a certain item.
Will you try to bring people together to work towards the common good?
I think that there needs to be unity within our country, otherwise everything would fall apart, and it could end up in a system where the rich stay rich and the poor never even have the opportunity to get up there. And so I think that if we bring unity within our country, then we can accomplish a lot more things than if we don't.
I think we should because equality is very important, and without that, some people could feel left out, or and it could become that some people, like the rich, could feel very powerful, and they could get a lot of power because of their wealth.
there's two left that we haven't addressed. The first one is, what are you going to do to help make money for this, help your citizens make money?
I'm going to make sure that there aren't any monopolies going on so that people can't raise the prices too much, and I'm going to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity to possibly purchase a business or somehow get an income, so that way you never run out of the resources that you need to help your family survive.
Yeah, he kind of summed it up, but making sure that everyone can get a fair amount of supplies and money and everything.
And what is the biggest change? Here's the last written question before I open it to the floor, so be thinking if you have any. What is the biggest change you will be making as president?
Probably the biggest change that I would like to make is I want to bring the judicial system all under a more centralized power, so that way trials don't go on for too long and a decision can be made quickly and efficiently.
Going I would like equality and making sure everyone gets everything that they need, and no one runs a monopoly or has more than what they should.
Okay, at this point, are there any questions from the constituents in the room? Anyone? Caleb?
Ben, you said that you make sure that there are no monopolies, but as there's only one energy tax, how is that going to work for one person?
That's a good thing to address. My plan is that one of the wilderness hexes, as a government, we are going to take that and convert it into an energy industry unit and have it available for auction.
Any other questions for your presidential candidates? You feel confident you know enough going forward to vote for who the right candidate is for your hidden agenda? All right, let's clap for these two.
I am Ethan Bruning. I am for the Democratic Party.
Okay, my name's Alice Zhang, and I'm also for the Democrat Party.
I'm Max Hansen. I'm representing
Republican Party.
I'm Caleb Escosin. I'm running for the Republican Party.
All right, now that we know our candidates, your first question, lady and gentlemen, and since you guys are senators, how are you going to help the economy thrive? Who'd ever like to speak first? Start talking.
Okay, so with taxes, it depends on how our society's gonna be. Is there more rich people or more poor? That's kind of how I want to do taxes. Because if there's everyone's super rich, then
You have a rich majority, remember?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
so we do have rich. Then taxes might be a little higher, just because we have to keep functioning as a country, and we want to grow.
I would have the taxes be a little higher too, so we can use them to increase what the people want to do with the money, like more EI units or more farms or whatever.
The problem with the country, if we want to make a change, it's kind of a hard process. So I would try to make it more simpler and easier to change things to what the majority wants quicker, so then it can be established faster instead of going through all these processes.
Anyone else? Max, you got an answer? All right. What is your stand on equal pay?
I think that those who get paid more because they work harder.
Different jobs equal different amounts of money.
Okay. As a senator, and each of you need to respond to this, what is one change you would like to make to the government?
I would wanna change how the government works, so then everything runs quicker and easier, so the government can act on the problems at hand quicker instead of the delay in time where nothing happens.
I think it'd be nice if like you guys gave us more ideas so then we could also work on it, and if you guys like came to us and so we could work together more, because I feel like more people working on stuff, then better it is and easier and more ideas.
I agree with Alice, like, if more people like communicate, the more better.
I agree with Alice too, and,
Thank you.
I would also try to make it so whatever you want happens as a country.
Okay. What made you want to run for Senate?
I kind of just wanted to be like someone that like you could tell me your ideas and I could be like loud about them and like tell them to the government and hopefully get them accomplished if it's good.
I wanted to help the changes you guys wanted in the country to happen, and I didn't think the executive branch would be the main floor that I was gonna take, so I thought that senator was a good opportunity to discuss the problems of our country and stuff we wanna change, stuff we wanna make better, so I thought Senate would be a good option for that.
I also ran so everyone's ideas can get across to whoever the president becomes.
Also, I think it's just nice to like have someone who's not like president that you trust with your ideas, so then you don't all have to like go to the president who's like at the top, because that might be like, if I do something wrong, then oops.
Okay. What skills do you feel like you have that make you a good candidate to become a senator?
Listen well. I listen well to what people say, and then I can tell people, or like the president, that we should do this.
Yeah, I listen well too, and also communicate well so I can get your ideas across to the president. And also I have good ideas of my own if you guys don't have anything.
I feel like I would be able to voice your opinion and like find a way to make the economy work and with your guys' ideas and to make the changes that we need.
Okay, the next question has to do with money and from the government. And it's, as you're making changes to the country, how are your changes going to affect government spending? Is it going to increase or decrease? I think is kind of what they're looking for. So the government, I guess I should explain, the government gets a funding account, okay? And you guys get to spend that money as part of the government. And so in making your decisions and these changes that you keep speaking of, is it going to increase government spending, which means you're gonna spend more of that money, or are you going to decrease it and try to save more?
Well, doesn't it depend on like how our country is like going? Like if we're in debt or like if we need help?
I don't know, that's what your constituents want to know.
But we haven't started our country yet.
They want to know, what are you going, when you're making changes, the question says, how are you going to change our country and how will this affect spending? They want to know, as you're making changes, is it your mission to spend a lot of money to make them, or are you going to try to not spend a lot of money to make these changes?
Personally, I think that we should just spend as much money as we can to like keep everyone alive and healthy. So like on food, shelter, and all the like things you need to keep your family alive. So if we need to spend money, then we will, but if not, then I think saving would be good for our future.
I feel like saving would be a good route, because if something bad happens in the future where a hurricane may come on our country and then it will destroy parts of the cities and everything, we would need money to set aside to kind of help that community out. But if we spend, then we might not have the opportunity to. So I feel that we should only pay for the essentials and help the community out, and then once we pass that line, I think we should stop and save.
I think we should save the money, but I'm not afraid to spend the money if something needs to get done.
Okay. How are you going to make sure people's requests to you as their representation are made a reality?
Whoever becomes the president, I will go and personally talk to them or send them a message if they're not here that day, and I will tell them what you want and make sure that they hear it.
If you want a change in government or law, I would work very hard to make sure that your idea stands out and that it is tried to put in action. And if that doesn't work, then I'll try to figure something out to meet your needs.
And like, we'll help as much as we can in the government, but I'd also like to get down there with you guys and help you guys in the country if you want to like do a protest with anything or just need help with anything in general.
Okay, your next question, unless anyone else had a response, I'm sorry. What is your number one mission to show, or what is the number one thing you're gonna do to show the people, your constituents, that you support them and their needs?
Well, I would try to get some wilderness hexes and convert them to like farms, so everyone has food. Maybe the EI power station, so everyone has power.
I just like want equality. I want everything to be fair. I don't want anyone to feel like they don't have a say.
If someone has a need to their life that they want to be changed in the government or the society, I would want to work hard to get it done as quick as I can, and that may need changing in the government to make stuff happen fast and easy and make changes applied quickly, so then those problems at hand could be quickly changed.
Okay, one of our candidates has to go do important accounting things for our country.
Bye, Ethan.
But if we have questions for Ethan that you would like to address with him before you vote tomorrow, I'm sure he would be willing to answer them, okay? As for the remaining candidates, I have several more questions if you're prepared to continue. What are your feelings on equality in our country is one of your next questions.
I feel that like everyone should be treated equally. The poor shouldn't be disrespected by the richer people.
I want everyone to have a voice. It doesn't matter if like you were born with $1 million or if you were born with like $0. You have a say in anything you want to say, and that's why we're here. We're here to help you.
Yeah, I agree with Max and Alice. But like I said before, those who work harder get paid harder, so equal pay, it's going to be a lot harder to change it. We do change it.
Just know that like if you work hard, you can do anything you want to. So.
Okay, do you think that more or less government control is better?
I think that less government control is better, because then you guys, the people, can say what you want, and we can change the country if necessary.
The government is kind of like, you guys elected us, or you're going to elect us, so like you trust us. So I feel like we're all just one big team. It's not if we have a big impact or small. You guys help us make that impact.
Okay, do you have any thoughts on healthcare?
Everyone deserves health care, no matter if you're rich or poor.
Here's the other two candidates agree. Did we discuss taxes?
Yes. At the
So
beginning.
increase, and who, did you want to increase, decrease, or stay the same? I forget. Alice, you wanted increase, decrease, or stay the same?
Because our country is a majority of rich, you said, I think it'd be nice to increase it just a little bit, because then if we ever have problems, we always have money to like back up on.
Was that comparable to your thoughts, gentlemen? Okay, what is the biggest thing you would like to accomplish when you are in office? You kind of mentioned something you'd like to do, but I guess, I think they're looking for, if you could only focus on one thing, this would be it.
I want to avoid as like many deaths in our family as possible, so I want to make sure everyone has like enough food to protect their family, to give to their family, and they have health, and I want like just to be equal with everything.
Okay, any other responses? All right, at this point, we are through the questions that I had. Some of you had similar questions, so I didn't repeat them twice. At this point, are there any questions from the floor that would like to be asked to these candidates? Does anyone have a question? Emma, did you have a question? Okay. Please don't be afraid. Please don't be afraid to ask them. Remember, these are the people who are going to represent you if you are not involved in government. Eric?
How much, like,
And you can, oh, sorry, you can address your question to one specific candidate if you'd like to.
this is for all of you, how much, like, land would you like all the businesses, like, the main things like farms and healthcare, would you like that to be owned by the people or the government?
I think the original ones would be owned by the people, and if anyone makes other ones they'd be owned. But if the government makes like a farm or something, then it would be owned by the government.
This is a question for you.
For me?
Yeah, we're selecting two, right?
Yep, you're picking two.
Okay.
Emma?
Okay, so if the taxes are going to be higher, what about like the minority of the people? What are going to like happen to them? What if they're not like people and they can't like find a job or anything else? Like what would happen to them?
Personally, I want to like personally help those people because I feel like the rich, they can maybe help each other with their problems. Not many people focus on the poor, like you said. So I want to like go down and talk to you guys and like maybe hopefully help you guys and give you some money to lend and get you guys good jobs, and then one day you can pay us back and we can all be like not poor and rich, just one big family.
Mackenzie.
What are you guys gonna do to help the poor out?
So like I just said with Emma, some ideas I have is I want to go down there personally and help you guys, like help you get jobs, give you some food, maybe help you find a nice shelter, all that kind of stuff. If you guys want to say anything.
Okay, Graham?
Is your plan to make taxes dependent on your income, or will it just be one flat tax for everyone?
I say it probably like would be on like how much you make a year.
Like it depends on your job and how much like money you've already spent or how much you have for electricity and everything. Like do you live in a mansion or do you like not even have a home? I don't want to tax people who like don't have a home as same as people who can live and afford a mansion.
Any other questions for these candidates? Grant?
This is for all of you. Do you think it's better to have everyone living the same, or like having their own property?
So are you saying government owned or
Yeah.
privately owned? So he's asking, do you want people in government owned housing or privately owned housing, or?
Do you think it's better for the government to own everything, or do you think it's better for the people to own?
I think it's better for the people to own the property, but if someone doesn't have a house, then we can get a house for them.
I also think it's nice when you guys own your own property, but if anything were to go wrong or if we hear suspicion, then we will be coming into your like door and asking what's wrong. And I feel like we can take your house away if anything like really bad happens.
Okay, any last questions? Let's thank these candidates.
I'm Marley Richter and I'm running for Republican House of Representatives seat.
I'm Hema Engen and I'm running on the Republican side.
I'm Megan Chaktis and I'm running for the Republican side.
I'm Lyle Condit. I'm running for the Democratic side.
I'm Noel Thomas, and I'm running for the Democrat side.
I'm Amber Folds and I'm running for the Democratic side.
All right, so our first question for your party, or for your, office is, how will you help the economy thrive?
I will make sure that everyone's thoughts get heard and said to the president.
I agree with Marley. I'll help like the people that their thoughts get spoken and made.
I think people should be able to earn their way up, but there shouldn't be too huge
much of a gap where people are like broke and poor.
I believe that equality should be one of the greatest things, not necessarily saying that everyone has to have the same amount of money, but I think that we could all have a reasonable price for every item that we distribute, but still have it high enough to make enough income for our government to still exist.
I agree with Lyle. I want there to be like a recommended price that most people don't have to follow, but need to keep in a certain range. Otherwise, it might not be affordable for people in the poor party. So,
Which is the pepper in this class, right?
yeah.
Okay, so I have to agree with Lyle on most of the things that he said.
Okay. This is gonna be kind of a two-part question, okay? What makes you wanna run for Senate, and what is the biggest change you are going to make, or not Senate, sorry. Why are you running for House of Representatives, and what is the biggest change you are going to make in office?
I ran because I wanted to make sure everybody's thoughts that they got announced to like the president, and that if they want something to change, and that they get it changed. And I want to make it sure that it is equal to everybody, that there's not just really like one poor side, and there's not really one high side, that it's pretty much all equal.
I wanted to run because I wanted to make sure that there was enough money to make it so there was enough to be safe if something happened, but also so that there's a small gap between like, the rich and the poor and the salt and the pepper, because if you don't have that gap, then people don't really understand. I don't know where I'm people need to understand that you have to work to get to where you want to be, and if you just don't work, then you'll end up being there, but if you try and work, then you can be rich.
I wanted to influence in the government somehow, and help it guide it to not only my hidden agenda, but also other people's.
I appreciate the honesty. The hidden agenda.
I just think that distributing everything to have everyone be happy would be one of the best things for our entire government, so that everyone would be thriving and we could all work together.
So I want there to be less of a gap between pepper and salt, because I'm actually one of the poorest people in the country, so I think it would be great if I could help represent those poor people, because a lot of times they don't have as big of a voice because they don't have enough money, they don't have as big of an influence in government. So if I was able to do this, I could advocate for everyone in the poor party, and that would be really helpful, because sometimes they're underestimated, and a lot of times the people who are in them don't get elected.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Why are you running for House of Representatives, and what is the biggest change you are going to make? If you don't want to answer, you don't have to. We can go on to the next question. Okay. All right. You want to answer? No? Okay. How do you plan to make sure laws are enforced, and what punishments will there be for people who break the law?
I think that the laws, there should be laws that make it so people work harder and just do more for the community. And if they break the laws, then they should have either a fine or like a tax increase, so that it hurts their income and they know that they have to not break the law.
I agree with Marley on the first part, but I also think, and overall I agree with Marley, but also I think that the president, like I'd take it to the president and see what they think about it, and then maybe have them decide what they believe that their punishment should be.
I think some kind of punishment should be able to be paying fines, because nobody wants to lose money, and at the same time it'll help the government get more money without having to raise taxes too high.
I believe that everyone needs to do their fair share in the community so that we all have everything that we need and that we need to distribute, and then everything that we need will be provided for. And then I also think that, like I said, everyone needs to do what they need to do, and different jobs will pay more depending on how much harder they are and how many points you'll get for it and stuff like that.
So with me, I definitely consult the president, and we need to make sure that we collaborate with the judicial branch, because obviously they help make these laws. Yeah, I think that's the version that does it. And so they obviously will have more wisdom on it than I probably would. So I don't think there should ever really be a death penalty, because that seems almost a little harsh. But then again, if you murder somebody else, you need a harsher punishment. And
which is not in this game, as a reminder.
Okay. And so yeah, fines, like Megan said, is a really good idea. And I don't think there should be a generalized one. Maybe we need to find out more about the person's motives and give them a fair trial before we give them a certain punishment.
No?
What?
Do you have an answer? Do you have an answer?
Yeah, I have an answer.
Go ahead.
Well, no matter what they did, they should have a fair trial.
Okay.
But if the punishment is a really big deal, they'll have to do a really, well, not, if what they did was a really big deal, they'll have a really big punishment.
Okay.
Like what they did.
You have any more?
No.
Okay, good. All right, how are you going to listen to and help with people's questions and concerns in regards to government?
So overall, I think that the government should be cared for by the citizens, and that the people should always have a right to say what they think is on their mind, and that we should enforce or we should seriously take into notion of what the people have to say, instead of just like brushing it off and then just say like we'll do it later. But I think that we should seriously talk about everything that everyone has to say, unless it's like just known to be as a joke, like I don't know, like not have a president and have an anarchy, something like that.
Just to be able to have open ears if anyone ever comes up and says something like an idea or a suggestion, just to be able to actually think about it and like tell the rest of the government about it, to be able to influence.
I agree.
I think that the government should kind of like step back and let people kind of decide on how they want everything to be and the taxes. Because if the government controls everything, then if the government wants more money to build a new pool or something, then it's going to raise the taxes because they want the pool. But the community might not think they need a new pool. So if they were to raise the taxes, then the community would have to pay more, which means that everything, like less things would be bought. And so if they don't have to pay as much, then they might be happier and want to make more rules and do different things with the money that they would pay.
Any other responses?
What was the question?
The question was, how are you going to listen and help with people's questions?
I'd probably talk to the I would probably talk to the other people of the government for ideas and stuff. I will also try to ask other people from the different parties.
So does this question also encompass suggestions or only questions about the government?
I think that they only said questions.
Okay.
Yep.
So like, if people have questions about our different motives or what we're doing in the government, we'll try to make known what we're doing and why we're doing it. Because sometimes we don't, people are like, well, why are we having higher taxes? We don't explain. Sometimes we need to vote on it so people know that this is the reason why we're doing this, and is that a good reason that we're doing this certain thing.
Alright, this is just, I think, looking for a one-word response, but if you feel the need to elaborate, you're more than welcome. We need to be done, if I can speak English, we need to be done in about 8 minutes so we can start voting, okay? Who do you think should have more power, the people or the government?
The people. The people. I'd say, yeah, the people, there's more of them.
I say that the government should have more power, but then the people should be able to have more influence over the government.
I think this should be about you.
I think it should be mostly the government, but the people should be able to should be able to should be able to do what they want within reason.
Okay. Let's see, a lot of these questions are similar. What will you do about making equality not a possibility? So this person does not want equality in your country, and so I think, do you support that idea or are you against it?
Against.
I think that there would be different wages for certain jobs and certain utilities and food and healthcare. And so if someone works harder than someone else, then they would get more money because that person didn't work as hard and maybe didn't pay attention in school or go to college. And the other person went to college for 8 years and had a business and was successful. They earned that.
I think there should be equality, but if you're not doing like any of the work, then you shouldn't be paid, and your taxes shouldn't be as low as people that are working and they are doing what they're supposed to do.
As I said earlier, there shouldn't be like a dramatic gap where the poor people are kind of like starving and all their families dying, because that would be bad. But at the same time, the people with more money, if they work harder and they just like they earn the money that they have, then we're not going to give the poor people money just because they don't have as much as they don't work as hard as the rich people.
Okay, so I slightly agree with him, but I also disagree at the same time, because sometimes people who are poor in the Pepper Party, they don't have the right resources in order to work hard. Like, they don't have the education in order to work hard at their jobs, and they don't get paid as much. So I feel like the government should maybe have a few programs that help them, but like they should be eligible for it and they have to like promise that they'll work hard and use the money wisely. Otherwise, then there would be much no point in giving poor people money. They're just gonna waste it.
Equality is really important to me, so I would have. What was the question?
I think it was, will you make equality go away or do you support equality?
Well, I think.
So it sounds like you were saying that equality is important to you.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to that?
No.
Okay, at that point, you guys, a lot of the questions were, what are you going to do as a House of Representative? And I think you guys fairly well answered that. So at this point, are there any questions from your constituents before we move on to the voting phase of this process? Anything you'd like to ask any of these candidates on for any clarification before you make a decision? All right, let's give these guys a round of applause.